Hey guys, it's super awesome to see you back. Thank you for joining me again. I hope you had a chance to watch the previous video, because today we're going to get right into this second step. Now, before we do that, I'm just going to do a brief review so that those of you that may not have watched the other video can understand the context. But I'm not going to go through everything because that would take up too much time in this video. So I really do want you to watch the previous video in this series, and I'll try to make that as easy as possible by putting some links. But we're talking about the power of smooth speech self-talk. And in the last video we explained what we mean by smooth speech self-talk and self-talk in general, but I'm sure that you have an idea. We talked about essentially three major steps in this process, and we said that the smooth speech self-talk and self-talk in general is crucial, it's imperative, right? It's imperative to your ability to really achieve anything in life, and especially smooth speech. And we said that the first step was awareness. Awareness of what? Awareness of the fact that you are thinking, you are talking to yourself, whether you know it or not. The second one is awareness of the content of those thoughts, the frequency of those thoughts, and the intensity of those thoughts, okay? And then we then said that we would talk today about how to stop those trains of thinking that we have that are taking us in the direction or in directions that we don't want to go. So that's what we're going to look at today, is how to stop those trains of thinking that take us in directions we don't want to go. What do we mean when we say a train of thinking? A train of thinking is a pattern of thinking, right? It's a series of thoughts that you and I have that take us places that we don't want to go. For example, sometimes people who struggle with their speech, they find themselves constantly anticipating the worst. They find themselves constantly anticipating, oh, I'm going to get stuck on saying my name because I've always gotten stuck on saying, or I usually get stuck saying, I have a difficulty, or I usually get stuck on S words, or ST words, or TH words, or F words, whatever the letters may be, P words, right, consonants, or vowel sounds. So people have struggled with those kinds of words, and so they believe and they think that they're going to continue. They had some trouble in the past, and so their brain says, boom, you had trouble in the past, and you're going to have trouble in the future. Whenever you say these words, or whenever they see these words coming up, their brain just automatically starts to cause them to feel kind of anxious. They start anticipating, anticipatory anxiety, right? Often, they may not even think about the word, and they just get to the word and their brain just stops them, cuts off all air, can't say the word. Has that ever happened to you, right? So, this is a train of thinking. It's a pattern of thinking. It's an ingrained pattern of thinking that's become a belief. And your brain now has programmed in this thought pattern, and sometimes it's happening beneath the surface where you're not even consciously thinking. It's like a program that's running automatically. And then other times, in fact, we do think about it consciously, okay? So how do we stop these trains of thinking? How do we get off these trains of thinking and redirect? Well, one way is to use what we call a pattern interrupt. It's a pattern interrupt. And when you find yourself, say, for example, anticipating, oh, I don't want to go there, I don't want to do this, I'll probably get stuck, or, oh, I don't want to feel embarrassed, or I probably will be embarrassed, or I'll probably get stuck on this or that. What we have to do is we have to interrupt that pattern of thinking, and that is, or here's the way that you do it. You tell yourself to stop. You just say, stop, stop. That's not helpful. Stop. That's not helpful. This thought is not helpful. So you just literally say, stop, stop, stop. This is not helpful. Let me think this instead. Okay? And we'll talk about the this instead in the next section, in the next session. So you tell yourself, stop, this is not helpful. Now someone says, okay, well, yeah, I've tried that before, or okay, I'll try that. And they try it, and then the thoughts just keep coming, they keep pounding away. Well, that's normal. That's going to happen. This is not just something you do once. This pattern interrupt is not necessarily something you can do once. You have to keep interrupting the pattern until your brain gets the message. Okay, this is not a train of thought or train of thinking that we want to be on, because he keeps stopping the train. He keeps stopping. Your brain wants to stay on that train, right? Because it's easy. It's what we've been thinking. So it's just woo, woo, and it just keeps doing that thought. And woo, and you got to stop it. Stop that train. And then the brain says, okay, we'll stop it this time. And then it starts going again. Right, keeps, and you got to go, oh, crap, okay. And you got to stop the train again, right? And then the train says, okay, we'll stop it for a couple of minutes. And then when you're not looking, then it's like, the next thing you know, what? You're thinking that train, you're on that train again. And then you just got to keep stopping it, right? You got to keep stopping it until finally, okay, well, I will stop. Now, how long does that take? In the moment, sometimes it'll just keep coming. And you'll just have to keep revisiting those moments and keep stopping the train until finally your brain gets the message. Stop the train until your brain gets the message. And your brain will eventually get the message, right? But you can't avoid those situations thinking that, okay, I'll be able to change my train of thinking, because you might change it in an environment that's low pressure or that's not that situation. Ordering coffee, speaking up in meetings, answering the phone, introducing yourself. You have to keep putting yourself in that specific situation. And when those thoughts come, you stop. That's not helpful. That's not helpful. You're probably saying, well, what do I say next? What do I say then once I say stop? Well, you're going to replace that train of thinking with a new, more constructive, more positive train of thinking that's taking you in the direction of smooth speech. And we'll talk about the content of those thoughts in the next video. That's the content, right? So right now, when you're on this train of thinking that's causing you to get frustrated, it's causing you to anticipate or think about every word that you're saying, about getting stuck, that's content that you don't want to be thinking. That's frequency that you don't want to have. So you're frequently thinking about the content, about something that you don't want to think about, and it's intense because it can cause you to feel anxious or frustrated or nervous, right? So once you become aware, okay, hey, yes, I am thinking this. Oh, I do feel this way. This is the train that I'm on, right? Then you can say, okay, now, I see myself, I'm starting to think this, or I'm thinking this, stop, this is not helpful. And in the next step, you'll be able to say, okay, now I'm going to think this instead. And remember, more than likely, you'll have to repeat this process over and over until your brain gets on the right train, right? You want to get your brain on the right train. And that's a process that takes time. And often, people have a hard time doing this on their own because it's not easy. And so often what people need is they need some accountability to help them stay consistent in being aware of their thoughts and understanding what they're thinking and how they're thinking, and continuously changing trains, right? Changing those trains of thinking. They need some accountability. They often need some feedback and evaluation to say, okay, what are you thinking now? Or what were you thinking then? Sometimes it's hard for us to evaluate ourselves and give ourselves honest and open and objective feedback. So often people need accountability for consistency and evaluation and feedback to save you time and energy, to accelerate your journey to smooth speech, okay? And you can get that accountability and feedback when you have someone like myself who's a smooth speech and presentation specialist who can help you, hold you accountable, and give you the feedback. Why? Because this whole process, this whole system is scientifically based, and not only that, it is experientially based. That is, it is proven by our clients, who are people just like you, who've gone through the system and have given feedback and helped to improve the system. And so the system is client tested, right, by people just like you, just like you. So it's client tested, it's experientially tested, it's not just theoretical, right? It actually works. And I've personally experienced it and used it and still continue to use it myself. So this is the kind of system you want to plug into if you want to accelerate your progress to smooth speech. And we'll talk more about that later. But what I want you to know now is that you are going to need to stop those trains of thinking. And how do you do it? With a pattern interrupt. You literally tell yourself, you don't have to say it aloud, you can just say, stop, stop, this is not helpful. Stop, this is not helpful. Let me think this. Stop, 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 this is not helpful. Let me think this instead. Okay? In the next session, we're going to talk about how to change trains, how to get your brain to change, try to say that really fast, change trains, to get you on the train of thinking that you want to be on. Okay? We'll see you in the next session.